Hello, basketball people, we have news. Let's go to more news about the Golden State Warriors. I ask you to give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, as I am a Warriors fan. The Warriors want to sign center Al Horford and are close to doing so. It will be a great signing because Al Horford, despite being a veteran, is a great player and will bring many benefits to the Warriors. Multiple reports since the NBA free agency period opened point to former Boston Celtics center Al Horford landing with the Golden State Warriors once the Jonathan Kuminga stalemate is resolved. The only mystery is at what price and the length of the contract, considering Horford just turned 39 in June. Bleacher Report's Dan Favale predicts Horford will sign for the taxpayers' mid-level exception. Depending on how the JK soap opera plays out, the Warriors could need to change up their offer, Favale wrote. If Kuminga proves to be ultra-expensive, it might leave them with only the veteran's minimum to dangle. If he leaves or gets moved in a sign-and trade, they could technically access the entire non-taxpayer mid-level exception. Count on the middle ground winning out again, and the 39-year-old joining Golden State for the taxpayers' mid-level exception. Favale's final verdict is that the Warriors will give Horford a 2-year, $11.7 million, with a player option for 2026 to 27. Warriors presumed starting center. According to ESPN's Anthony Slater, Horford is the presumed starting center of the Warriors next season. Horford would slide in as the presumed starting center, lessening the regular season load on Draymond Green, which is a priority, Slater wrote. Horford's ability to pass and defend fits well into the Warriors system. His ability to shoot from the center spot is something they've been sorely lacking. Last season, Horford averaged 9.0 points, 6.2 rebounds, and 2.1 assists while making nearly 2 three-pointers per game on 36.3% shooting from beyond the arc. During the Boston Celtics championship run in the previous season, Horford averaged 8.6 points while shooting 41.9% from the three-point range. Horford will have more open looks than he enjoyed in Boston, with Jimmy Butler and Stephen Curry scoring gravity-bending defenses from inside and outside. Those around the league continue to ticket Horford to the Warriors when the free agency dust ultimately settles, Slater continued. The Kuminga situation continues to hold up business for them, keeping Horford in a holding pattern. Going against the tide. Adding Horford into the mix will make the Warriors' starting lineup one of the oldest, if not the oldest, next season. Horford, Green, Butler and Curry will all be in their mid to late 30s. This lineup goes against the tide of today's NBA, whose defending champion Oklahoma City Thunder is the second youngest to win since the 1976-77 Portland Trail Blazers. The Warriors could be courting disaster by relying on the 39-year-old knees of Horford to anchor the paint. He hasn't been playing both sides of back-to-backs, Slater said of Horford. The Warriors can't rely on him to be an every-night 25-minute option. But the desire is to have him in the lineup when it matters and open up space for five-man combinations, which would especially benefit a downhill driver like Kuminga. The Warriors have 15 back-to-back games this season, tied for second most in the NBA with the Toronto Raptors, Portland Trail Blazers, New Orleans Pelicans, Miami Heat and the Utah Jazz. Second-year center Quinton Post and Tracy Jackson-Davis are expected to step up on nights Horford or Green will not be available. Will this be enough to fuel a deep postseason run for the aging Warriors? Warriors only have one Jonathan Kuminga move to make. The Golden State Warriors and Jonathan Kuminga are stuck in a holding pattern, though there has been some ongoing talks between the two sides according to ESPN's Anthony Slater on Friday. The current sticking point is the second year of a $45 million contract offer, with the Warriors wanting to retain their flexibility by having it as a team option while Kuminga wants to take control of his own future by having it as a player option. The Warriors will have to give Jonathan Kuminga a 2-year guarantee. Kuminga's position is understandable. He doesn't want to simply be viewed as a pawn for Golden State to trade once eligible mid-season. He wants to be viewed as a building block, which again is fair enough even if you don't believe him in as such a player. The Warriors' only move here is to grant some leeway and guarantee the second year of the contract, no team option, no player option and no trade clause. Doing so would avoid the disaster of Kuminga signing the $7.9 million qualifying offer, which according to Slater is very much on the cards for the young forward if Golden State don't move from their current contract position. The other option is to reopen sign-and-trade discussions that for now have been shut down according to Slater, yet getting something deemed as reasonable value from the Sacramento Kings, Phoenix Suns or another rival seems further away than making an amendment to the contract they currently have presented. If Golden State are hellbent on bringing Kuminga back next season, they have a duty to Steve Kerr and the veteran core to make sure it's done in a way that doesn't completely disrupt their championship aspirations from day one. That's going to be hard to achieve as it is given this elongated free agency process, but it's going to be impossible if the 22-year-old is back on the qualifying offer where there will be even more discussion around his level of content in conjunction with his role and minutes under Steve Kerr. The Warriors must at least try to prove that they view Kuminga as more than just a walking trade candidate, something they can really only start by doing if they're willing to give a little ground in contract negotiations. At this point it might not even be about the contract, which would be far from disastrous, but more so about who is deemed the winner in a saga that's become tiresome for Warrior fans and others around the league. Golden State Warriors expected to cave to Jonathan Kuminga could affect Giannis Antetokounmpo chances. The Golden State Warriors are expected to cave to Jonathan Kuminga in their contract stalemate. Jonathan Kuminga has ground the Golden State Warriors offseason to a halt. Kuminga won't sign the 2-year, $45 million deal currently on the table. He has concerns about being traded after scarcely featuring on the back end of last season, and believes the Warriors stunted his growth. Kuminga holds all the cards. He has interest around the league for either a trade or as a free agency pickup next summer. All he has to do is opt into a $7.9 million qualifying offer for next season. Then he's free to leave in 2026. Game recap: Valkyries vs Sky, August 15, 25. Meanwhile, the Warriors are unwilling to officially sign any of their incoming free agents until Kuminga's contract is resolved. But Kuminga has no incentive to come to an agreement quickly, and frustrations are beginning to surface in Stephen Curry's corner. An NBA reporter thinks there's only one way this ends. All roads seem to be headed in a positive direction for Kuminga. Either he gets the contract he wants from the Warriors or he's sent to another team through a sign-and-trade. Kuminga would have to agree to that. Failing that, Kuminga can opt into the qualifying offer and become a free agent. The latter would be disastrous for Golden State. The qualifying offer's salary would make Kuminga a practically untradeable asset. He'd walk for nothing. Bleacher Report's Dan Favale expects the Warriors to meet Kuminga's wishes of trade security, as their young talent has all the leverage. He wrote, "One of these sides is going to blink first. And it's going to be the Warriors. Letting Kuminga sign his qualifying offer would be disastrous. He would be freshly angry and have the right to veto any trade, and his next team wouldn't own his bird rights. That eliminates any possibility of Golden State receiving adequate compensation for his services. Expect the Warriors to cave in some form. Short of juicing his annual salary into the $30 million range, a 2-year contract with a team option will end up being out of the question. Jonathan Kuminga wants a long-term deal that could destroy Golden State Warriors' Giannis Antetokounmpo hopes. The underlying narrative not only of this contract saga, but for the entire NBA offseason, has been the uncertainty surrounding Giannis Antetokounmpo's Milwaukee Bucks future. Teams believe the Greek superstar could become a free agent in 2027. The Los Angeles Lakers, Miami Heat and Houston Rockets have kept one eye on the future and won't commit to large salaries going into that offseason. The Rockets have been hesitant to sign Kevin Durant to a big deal. Meanwhile, the Lakers' free agent signings have been 1- and 2-year contracts. Everyone is keeping their books open, including the Warriors. It's no coincidence that Golden State is dead set on a 2-year deal for Kuminga. They do not want him signed to a $20 million plus per year contract if Antetokounmpo becomes available. But it seems Kuminga may force their hand. The Warriors face a choice. Sign Kuminga long-term to avoid losing him for nothing, repair burned bridges and attempt to develop him into a star. Or, let him walk and buy a ticket to the Antetokounmpo sweepstakes. The difficulty is that without a return for Kuminga, they might not be an attractive destination. Antetokounmpo wants to win championships, and in 2027 Curry will be 39, meanwhile Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green will be 37. They need to get young, fast if they want to show Antetokounmpo they can compete in the West, and to do so they can't lose Kuminga for nothing. Warriors urged to add Jimmy Butler's former All-Star teammate. The Golden State Warriors haven't done much this summer, but a perfect addition could be on the horizon. This offseason has been stagnant for the Warriors. Still waiting on the Jonathan Kuminga situation to conclude to add free agents such as Al Horford, Golden State is in a tricky situation. While Kuminga has held up the offseason in San Francisco, the Warriors could still make a move for another intriguing free agent. While the Warriors already reportedly have some deals lined up, a three-time All-Star is still on the market. Does Ben Simmons make sense in Golden State? In a recent article from Bleacher Report's Eric Pincus, he tabbed the Warriors as a potential landing spot for Ben Simmons. The former number 1 pick is still looking for his next team, and Golden State could be the perfect fit. As Pincus explained, Simmons wouldn't necessarily be a great fit inside alongside Draymond Green, but he would be a phenomenal backup and could help the former Defensive Player of the Year stay fresh for the postseason. Considering Simmons' playmaking ability, he could also be great for feeding Stephen Curry and some of the Warriors' other shooters. The biggest wildcard in Simmons' potential arrival in Golden State is Jimmy Butler. The two played for a half season in 2019 in Philadelphia, and the fit wasn't always perfect. Still, Butler has praised Simmons for his abilities and getting through a tricky situation under Brett Brown that season. Considering both have put Philadelphia in the past, there shouldn't be any issues in reuniting the All-Star duo. Not Steve Kerr, but Steph Curry hails another coach as greatest at identifying his true potential. Stephen Curry may never have become the superstar that he is today if it weren't for one coach. After all, when Stephen Curry entered the league during the 2009-10 season, he barely looked like an NBA player due to his small frame. However, Curry has led the Golden State Warriors to 4 NBA championships as a 6'2" point guard, thanks to his insane three-point shooting ability. While Curry's impact on the modern era is clearly visible, the baby-faced assassin was almost forced to abandon his unique playing style before his NCAA career by his mother, Sonia Curry. Davidson Wildcats head coach Bob McKillop showed belief in Steph Curry. Before the start of Curry's freshman year in 2006, the future Basketball Hall of Famer's parents evidently met the head coach of the Davidson Wildcats. At the time, Bob McKillop was the head coach of the program. Steph recently revealed that his mother promised Coach McKillop about adding more weight before the start of his collegiate career. However, McKillop denied such requirements, making Curry believe in his skills. "I truly am thankful that he had that kind of perspective on me when I was getting recruited," Curry said during a basketball camp at Arrillaga Family Gym. "And my favorite line he said was, my mom was like, 'We'll put some weight on him,' before I showed up to campus, and he was like, 'No, we'll take him just the way he is,' which is a reflection of his belief in me," Steph added. Well, Curry paid off McKillop's trust by averaging 21.5 points, 4.6 rebounds, and 2.8 assists per game for the Wildcats during his freshman year. Bob McKillop was greatest at instilling confidence in Steph Curry. While Curry has enjoyed major success under head coach Steve Kerr during his NBA career, the 2x NBA MVP still believes Coach McKillop was the greatest at realizing his true potential. And the confidence to go through the ups and downs of college and the transition, go from there. So, you have to have people that kind of see your potential and instill that in you over time. And he was definitely the greatest at doing that for me, Curry said of McKillop's impact on him. To be fair, if Coach McKillop had forced Curry to add more weight and muscle, he may have lost the agility that makes him such a dangerous threat on the court. Fortunately, that didn't happen, and fans saw unarguably the greatest shooter of all time in action at all his might in the NBA.